name's Danny Bubis. I am a University of Winnipeg collegiate graduate in 1984. I did grades 11 and 12 at the collegiate, which was what was offered at that time. And in the late 2000s, I was asked to be on the board of the University of Winnipeg Foundation. I was asked by a number of different people involved. Len Asper had been on the board and had been one of the founding members and was moving to Toronto. So I was approached by Sandy Riley and Susan Thompson and joined the board in that period somewhere, because we're going to talk about investments during the early stages of the financial crisis. So don't remember the exact date, but remember the period very well. The endowment of the foundation at the University of Winnipeg has had pretty significant growth over the last 20 years. Actually, the numbers are pretty fresh in my head because we recently had the Duff Roblin dinner where we honored Ruth Hastings. And I had a chart there that showed that over the last 20 years, from 20 years ago, the endowment was approximately 21 million. And as of the end of the current fiscal year, at March of 2023, it was, if memory serves me right, about $84 million. So pretty easy math, even for me, that it's increased fourfold over this 20-year period. But that's just really one side of the story, because that's what we like to call the balance sheet, the asset side of the story. And the value of the endowment isn't the dollars, but it's the amount of money that goes to the university every year. And that's grown, I think we've given, over that 20-year period, over $28 million to the university. In the last fiscal year, most current one, it was just a shade under 2.5 million of what was designated to go to the university. And I'm hoping this year it'll even be a higher number. But again, in real terms, that's what we're talking about. What matters is also the growth in those dollars on not just the nominal, but on the inflation adjusted. And I think we've grown more than the fourfold of the endowment, because some of the advantages that you get when you get to have a bigger endowment is we've had reasonably good returns that has allowed the distribution to the university to grow above the rate of inflation. But the other thing is, because we've also achieved greater scale, the expenses of running the foundation and the endowment helps to pay for, that expense ratio, the efficiency, the expense ratio has declined, and we've gotten the advantages of scale, which just again means, back to what we want to do, first principles, is more money to students and to programs. Well, when it comes to investing, we at the foundation like to take a pretty conservative approach. Our major goal is preservation of capital. We have donors who have entrusted money with the foundation. It's going into an endowment, and the point is that it never runs out, and that it provides a reasonable return to the university with a level of growth that helps students attend the university and help the university create and maintain excellent programs. So we are making sure with what we do, we don't put that at risk. The investment committee is a policy-making group. What our main focus is developing what the investment policy is for the endowment as part of the foundation, which really, for the most part, means asset allocation, how much is in stocks versus bonds, and maybe international versus domestic on both of those categories, and then picking who the money manager is, and then doing the ongoing monitoring of that money manager. I think it's important to say what we don't do. We don't get involved in individual security selection. That's for sure, and that allows us to step back and take a higher level view. And from a historical perspective, when I joined the foundation, it already had a very strong investment committee where some of these principles were put together. At that point, it was chaired by Jim McDonald, and his other two members at that point were Doug Leatherdale and I believe Jim Richardson. And then when I stepped on, Jim Richardson went more onto the audit side, and then it was the three of us, and then I became the chair of the investment committee a few years back.